Hey Mena Warriors, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate Hartley and I share a weekly video with you every Monday about something related to menopause. I've recently been diving in deep around fat loss, weight loss, belly fat loss, and also muscle growth and how important protein is. Today, I'm really excited about today's episode. Rather than looking at losing weight, how about you look at gaining lean muscle mass? Now, the reason for that is because we all need to gain, we need to actively build our lean muscle. As we go through the perimenopause, as we get older, whether you're a man or a woman, in actual fact, it is much harder to maintain your muscle mass. It also can contribute to bone frailness and a whole host of other issues that can have a knock-on effect, and often it's a combination of several things. Now, this is not a carte blanche to go out and think, right, I can eat everything that I want and I'm still going to lose weight. No, you do have to eat quality food, and you do need to cut down on the refined sugars and the processed foods and the chemicals. Obesity, if we're talking about obesity as in the actual medical obesity, the common guidance is to just go and increase more cardio, do longer walks, and restrict your calories. But the problem with that is if you are restricting calories, you cannot possibly be building lean muscle, which is essentially what you need, because lean muscle is metabolically active. You can boost your metabolism by building lean muscle. And when you're building lean muscle, when you've got more muscle, you burn more calories. But when you're eating more protein as well, because of the fact you're sort of using nutritional science to help mitigate weight gain, as it were, because protein fills you up for longer, it takes more energy to digest. And if you've eaten a protein-rich meal, you're unlikely to want anything else after it. You're unlikely to have the cravings that so many people struggle with. It is a fact that the vast majority of women are eating probably under 50% of their daily protein needs. So to understand how much protein you should be eating, it's whatever your ideal goal weight is. So say if you want to weigh 140 pounds, you want to aim to eat 1 gram of lean protein for every pound. So when you're eating more protein, you're not eating so much of the other stuff, because protein fills you up a lot. For instance, most women they'll have maybe a round of toast or a couple of rounds of toast and a bowl of cereals. Often the ones that are marketed as healthy, which are not, they say they're low in fat, but actually they're very high in sugar. And there's a few that pop out in my mind aside of the ones that are really unhealthy anyway. One of the best things you can do is get yourselves off cereals. Maybe eat some porridge oats. They are good for you in small amounts. Looking at a macro balance of around about 40% carbs, 30% lean protein and 30% fat. But what you can do is eat a little bit more protein and a little bit less carbs. Now, carbs are important for us. Healthy carbs are a vital aspect of a healthy functioning body. But if you are needing to build lean muscle, which is going to mean you're going to need to eat more protein so that you can change your body composition, so you can burn more fat more effectively, you can get rid of the blubber, you can get rid of the belly fat. Never think that you've got to this stage and this is just how it is. It is so wrong. I very, very nearly resigned myself to the fact that I was just going to get bigger around my middle and I was eventually going to look like an apple on stick legs. That did start to happen to me going through the perimenopause, and I did the typical stuff like we've all been conditioned to do. Oh, just eat less. You'll be fine. You'll lose weight when you eat less. And everything just started to grind to a halt. My energy levels dropped. Felt really miserable. I love my food and drink. And so to actually restrict it was just really tough. And I was not getting the results. I was still gaining weight. I was doing more exercise and activity than I had ever done, and I was still gaining weight. So something was not working. And if you go to the doctors, they're likely to recommend you do more exercise, and they will recommend that you restrict your calories, highly likely. That is still the standard response to somebody who needs to lose some weight. I actually think that is the wrong kind of advice. While you do have to be mindful of your calories, like I said, they are not all created equal. And when you are focusing on building lean muscle, so you might even be gaining weight. If you have very little muscle mass, it might be that you actually have to ditch the scales and completely sever your identity or your sense of worth with what the scales say, and focus on gaining muscle mass. So it might be that you gain weight. How could you imagine if you woke up in the morning and said, oh, this is the month I'm aiming to put on 5 pounds of lean muscle mass or 10 pounds of lean muscle mass, rather than thinking, oh God, I better start a diet today. I've got to lose 10 pounds of weight, and I'll ideally do it by next week or the end of the month. Can you just the difference in how the energy is around that choice? It's huge. And when you're building lean muscle, you're doing so many favors to so many aspects of your body, which I'm going to break down today. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview to begin with, so you can what you can expect to get from today's video, but also to help you understand that it is not about weight loss. It's about building lean muscle so that you can change your body composition, so that you can burn fat more effectively, get rid of the belly fat, but also enjoy food, enjoy drink, and have that energy, have that hormone balance. And by understanding that when you eat more lean protein, you are going to be feeling and looking a lot healthier. When we think about muscle, we think about, you know, six-pack abs or bulging biceps or massive neck and shoulders, but they actually have a really important role in keeping us healthy as well. When we contract our muscles, they secrete something called myokines, and myokines have a really important role in the body to help reduce the risk of things like Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, diabetes too, all sorts of chronic diseases. And so that's why there's a lot of research now suggesting that a sedentary lifestyle, the sedentary bit is in and of itself is not healthy, but it's largely due to the fact that we're not getting these myokines secreted around our bodies, which are so important. I've actually put some resources down at the bottom of the description of this video. So if you want to look at it in more detail, highly suggest you do. It's really interesting. And yes, they can be a bit scientific, but it's really good to get a grasp of why we actually need to be doing strength training, not just for the aesthetics, not just for joint mobilization, but also the fact it has such a profound impact on our general health as well. You know, you look at the obesity epidemic, well, this has been going on for years now, and it's still not getting any better. It's probably even getting worse. And diet does have, or food, the food we eat does have a role to play, a significant role. But there was a study done of some 18-year-old college students who were sedentary. They had no external obvious reasons to say they were unhealthy. But when their muscles were analysed, their muscles were unhealthy. They were not producing the myokines that they should have been doing. And you can have unhealthy muscles and healthy muscles. As we get older, the ability for our muscles to build and also to synthesize protein gets less. So that's why there is such a focus on building lean muscle and also eating more protein. So really there is no such thing as a healthy sedentary person. If you're in hospital for any long period of time, you'll know that you lose all your muscle mass. That's because the body tends to dive into our muscles first. It's an easy source of fuel. And then we deal with the fat later. So muscle atrophy is an uphill battle. We need to actively work to prevent muscle atrophy from happening, and also hopefully to prevent us from having the falls, or if we do fall, we bounce better because we've got a stronger body that's holding everything together better. You know, stronger muscles, they create stronger bones and stronger joints. And it's just really important that you avoid any long-term spell in hospital, because one, the nutrition is pretty bloody awful, and you know, when you're not active, it's amazing how fast your muscle comes off, and it takes a heck of a lot longer to build it back up if ever you do achieve that. I can't remember the ratio, but it's a scary amount of, something like 12,000 people die in hospital every year in the UK as a result of having had a hip fracture. And that's generally not the hip fracture itself that's caused the death. It's the fact that they've been in hospital, sedentary, muscles are not moving, and they've developed something like pneumonia. It's essential that you are eating enough protein and building lean muscle. So why is protein so important? Well, protein is the building blocks of life. Protein is not just one thing. It's made up of 20 different amino acids. And they look at a sort of take an amino acid as a piece of Lego. So you put your Lego bits together, and when you've created your shape, that is your protein molecule. And those amino acids, depending on whether you're omnivorous or whether you're veggie or vegan, you are going to have, if you're veggie or vegan, I will cover this in a little bit in a moment, But for instance, if you have like a beef patty, you're going to get a lot of there's an amino acid called leucine, which is very important for the creation, laying down of new lean muscle fibers, the development of muscles. If you're eating a vegan or a vegetarian diet, you're going to struggle probably to get enough leucine in. So for instance, a beef patty, the equivalent of that in quinoa would be about 8 cups of quinoa. Well, that would be way too many carbs for a start. Yes, you would be getting the right amount of protein, but at the expense of way too many carbs. And so really you'd need to look at protein supplements. So you're making sure that you're getting sufficient protein in during your day. Ideally, you want to be aiming for a large protein-based breakfast and a large protein-based meal, evening meal, and then maybe 2 high protein snacks or meals throughout the course of the day. So ideally, you want to be looking at around 30 to 50 grams of protein for the first meal of the day and also the last meal of the day. Because remember, at the last meal of the day, you've got all night to go again before you're eating protein. When we're asleep, that's when the body repairs itself. If you're doing strength training like you need to be doing, that is when your body will be making those stronger muscle fibers. So you really want to be aiming, and it's hard to do. In the description box, I've got a powerful proteins free guide that you can download. Have a look at that. That tells you it's an omnivorous guide, so it does include plant-based proteins as well. It helps break down which foods have the highest amount of protein in them per cup value. Things like people think beef would have more protein than chicken. Well, actually, chicken has more protein than beef per cup size. So just be aware of that so that you know that you are eating enough protein. I have recently started eating a high protein light meal. So it's Greek yogurt with milled linseed, both high in protein, with some of my superfood shake, which is also high in protein. And then I have that with with berries and probably 1/4 of a banana on top. And I eat that before my workout. I really struggle to eat a large meal at the beginning of the day. I used to do intermittent fasting, absolutely loved it, and realized it was not helping me. They got to a stage where my body needed more food more regularly, and by eating more protein, my muscles have been building more, and I've actually dropped body fat. I can feel myself, I feel so much leaner. I've been doing that for about 3 months now, and I know it's hard. If you found something like intermittent fasting, you've committed to it for a few years, and yeah, it's working well, then all of a sudden you see the weight gain creeping up again. Don't be afraid to change it. I think it's really important that we are willing to think, okay, well, it used to work, but it's no longer working anymore. When we go through menopause, our bodies are changing, our hormones are changing. So it means that what we used to do often is no longer working. And it is about having a bit of a leap of faith. When I decided to quit intermittent fasting, I was doing the 16:8 ratio. And I just thought, oh my God, if I follow this particular nutritional system, I'm going to end up eating so much. How can I possibly not put weight on? And I've been building lean muscle. I probably have gained weight, but it's a lean muscle mass weight, not fat that takes up more space and gives you more blubber. I feel so much more energized. I mean, I'm always quite energetic. I live a healthy lifestyle. I've been doing workouts for years. I do watch my nutrition. I make sure I'm eating healthy stuff. I don't eat many takeouts, so I very rarely have anything that's processed. And by adding more protein to my diet, to what I eat on a daily basis, it's had such a profound and positive impact. So I recommend you embrace that. There was some research done, and there was a group of menopausal women who, one group had, so like the typical breakfast, there is about 50% of carbs and maybe sort of 15% of lean protein, obviously some healthy fats. It was much more carb heavy, like your traditional breakfast for a lot of us, and with strength training, but the same amount of calories as the other group of women who were having between 30 and 50 grams of lean protein in the morning and only around about 15 grams of carbs, like a small amount of oats, fruits are carb, veggies are carbs, so healthy carbs, and same amount of strength training, same caloric amount as the people who had the more carbs, and the women who were strength training and eating pretty much double their recommended daily amount of protein, so that formula that I just gave you, they doubled that, they saw the biggest reduction in their measurements and improvement in lean muscle mass. And some of them did lose weight as well. In fact, quite a few of them lost weight. But I really think we have to look more at gaining muscle mass rather than losing weight. Because when you start to gain muscle, you will naturally start to lose weight. So protein, another benefit of it is that it takes more energy for the body to actually process. So you're using up more calories when you're eating protein, plus the satiety factor. So it keeps you feeling fuller for longer. And if you have a good protein meal, it'll keep you full for ages. You will not get the cravings that you will have when you have too many sort of carbs or refined carbs or the typical healthy cereals, which are not at all healthy. And in fact, just while I'm on that one, if you love a bowl of cereals in the morning, I would literally just have a smallish bowl of porridge oats and have some, maybe sliced up some banana or berries on top, and maybe mix in or have a big dollop of Greek yogurt on top of that as well. Or if you can't eat dairy, maybe have coconut yogurt. Try and find something that's got some live bacteria in it too, rather than having the other ones, which they are just so high in sugar, and they are not good for you, even though they are marketed as being such. It drives me insane. The food marketing labels, the food marketing industry has so much to be responsible for. But that doesn't mean we don't need to take responsibility for our own health and wellness. We really do. And as a menopausal woman, you probably know how hard it is to get, if you're on HRT, how hard it is to get the HRT that you want, or you just find the balance and then they run out of stock of that one, so then you've got to try something different, or they've no longer got the gel, so you need the patches, and then you don't work very well with the patches. It is an absolute minefield. So when you can arm yourself with some useful when you can arm yourself with some useful information, it makes a massive difference, because it helps you understand that some of the things that you are doing are contributing to a healthy lifestyle for you. Also, when we are using our muscles directly suck glucose, so sugar, blood sugar, out of the blood. So if you are pre-diabetic or diabetes 2 and you're insulin resistant, strength training is significantly going to help you, because if the muscles are directly sucking the glucose out of the blood, it means that your pancreas gets a bit of a break. It doesn't have to have the insulin isn't having to be secreted to deal with some of the food that you've eaten, because of the fact that the muscles are pulling it directly out, the sugar out directly out of the blood. So strength training, there is nothing that is negative about it. You cannot lose out by strength training. And to make the most of strength training, or indeed to be able to build lean muscles, you need to be eating probably a lot more protein than you are doing already. As far as insulin spikes as well, different macros affect your insulin levels more. So carbs, obviously, they spike insulin the highest, but refined carbs are really going to send it off the charts. It's those that you want to avoid. Carbs are healthy for us. We need them. But think about like whole grains, wholemeal bread, if you eat bread, vegetables, fruits, those are carbs. People say, oh, can I eat fruit? Of course you can. Fruit's really good for us. It's full of antioxidants. You want a wide range of colours and a variety of food. So, don't just live on, if you eat meat, don't just live on like chicken and tuna and maybe the odd minced beef. Try and vary it up. So, same with your fruits and vegetables. Go for a wide variety of different fruits and vegetables, so that even protein sources. So like my first meal of the day, it's got Greek yogurt, protein. It's got my superfoods protein shake in there. That's more protein. It's got the linseeds in there. That's protein. So, don't just think about one bit of protein. Think about, how can you have different foods that contain different types of protein? Because then you're going to be making sure that you're getting, a wide range of those amino acids that you need for healthy functioning. That's why it's important to understand the leucine argument, because leucine is absolutely critical for you developing lean muscle mass. So if you eat meat, you're probably getting enough leucine. If you're not, make sure that you've got a healthy protein supplement that is designed to fill in that leucine gap of that amino acid that you may be lacking if you're vegan or vegetarian. And just finally, I have a few questions sometimes. It's like, well, what is strength training? What is resistance training? What do I need to do? So where are you at the moment? Are you a cardio bunny, and I say that with all the greatest respect. I speak to a lot of women who say, "Oh, I'm doing all this running and this cycling," and the problem with cardio, especially long distance or endurance athletes, that is not helping you build lean muscle. You're probably burning up the lean muscle that you might even be creating. Yes, it's probably keeping you fit. It might be helping you lose weight, but you always have to remember you need to be doing something to create lean muscle. You need to be building it up. You want to be looking at, well, I strength train 4 or 5 times a week. I strength train for about 30 minutes a day. Sometimes it's slightly longer, occasionally it's slightly shorter. And that also factors in, I normally have an active recovery day throughout the course of the week as well. And there will be a day that involves some kind of strength-based cardio or high intensity interval cardio. So that is literally when you are, I mean, I would not do this one myself, but say just running on the spot really, really fast with your knees high, or mountain climbers. I just want, like, whoever invented those things are just bloody horrible. But you know, doing that for maybe 30-second burst as fast as you can, and then stopping and allowing your heart and lungs to recover again before you do another very short intense burst. And that is the point of high intensity interval training. You do want a little bit of that. Or when you're doing strength training, you are automatically getting a good cardio workout, particularly on legs days and glutes days, your booty muscles. They're big muscles, and you'll find that if you are doing a good strength training program, your heart's going to go like, ooh. I get out of puff when I'm doing a legs day or a booty day training, just because I'm using my large muscles with weights. And you haven't got the weights, you can use resistance loops or bands. So either the smaller bands that you put around your legs, or you can have the longer bands that, you know, you can stand on them, and you can use them as sort of just for shoulder presses, and you do all sorts of things. Stand on them and use them for bicep curls. Whenever I go camping or traveling, I always take my bands with me, the long ones, rather than dumbbells. And actually, you get a slightly different workout as well, because with a dumbbell, it's always the same weight, whereas with a band, you know, it starts, you have to have some tension early on, and then as you're getting right up to the top of the contraction, you're really pulling on it. I would also aim for progressive overload, so work to muscle fatigue. By the third from last rep, you want to be thinking, God blimey, should I have gone slightly lighter with my weights? And if you can manage those last 3 reps, feeling, you know, you're pretty much at the end of it, you are doing a really good job. Every workout is challenging, no matter how fit and strong you are, because we all work within our ability envelope. So there is never a workout where I think, oh, that was easy. And if I did, I'd think, well, that's a rubbish workout because it hasn't challenged me. It's not done what I needed it to do. Of course, some workouts I prefer to others. But we need to be working all aspects of the body, so upper body, lower body, gluteal muscles, abs. If you follow a really good comprehensive workout program, you're going to be having those moves all combined for you in any case. That's why I love following a workout program. It has the calendar, and you know, I follow experts who deliver the workout to me, and for me, that works really, really well. We get great results. And a lot of the ladies that I work with, you know, some of us are following a 21-day program at the moment. We're getting great results from it. And others are doing other programs. So, but we're all there is always the strength-based element to it. If you want any help getting started with your wellness, understanding the nutrition, the macro balance, understanding how to eat more protein, with a very comprehensive strength-based training program, click the Sparkle Back form in the description box, or if you're watching this as a replay on Instagram or YouTube, on the link in my bio, and fill that in. I'll be in touch with you and chat to you about your goals, because it takes the guesswork out. I used to piece together clips from YouTube and think, oh, I'll just do that and I'm sure this will work, and I can probably work out, you know, how much I need to eat, and it just did not work. And I got so sick and tired of it, and I just thought, right, this is it. I need something to follow that's going to work for me. And I found this system about 9 years, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and I've been following it ever since. And I will probably follow it until I die, because it is such a great system. And there's always a new program to move on to. You never get bored. It's really engaging. And if you decided to join, you have the benefit of my community and me as your mentor, and be doing the workouts alongside with you in the vast majority of cases. It's a whole lot of fun, and we get great results too. So if you want any more information, just send me a message. So I hope that's been helpful to you. But what are your thoughts on, rather than looking at losing weight, possibly even gaining weight so that you're gaining lean muscle? And if you're there thinking, but I'm obese, I'm morbidly obese, the doctor said I have got to cut my calories and start walking regularly. Start walking regularly and watch your calories. Make sure your calories are coming from whole foods, not the rubbish that surrounds us in the supermarkets and the drive-throughs. But also start to incorporate some strength training. That can just be air squats. You will not see the muscles for a while, because if you're morbidly obese, you will have to shift some fat. However, by using your muscles, by starting to build your muscles, you will burn more calories more fast, and you will be releasing those myokines, which are really good for you. So eating more lean protein and incorporate strength training into your daily regimen. You will find that with time, you will get the results that you want to get, but avoid the processed foods, avoid the refined sugars. When you eat more protein, you're going to stay fuller for longer. You are going to feel more energized, and it might take you a little while to get rid of the habits that you've set up over the years. So the habit of maybe after your lunch, you then have a few biscuits, or the habit of with your lunch, you have a pack of crisps and a few biscuits and a chocolate bar, or after breakfast, you might go out for a coffee and a cake. It's not that you need them nutritionally. It's the fact that you have these habits that you've developed that have, one thing leads to another. It's about breaking the habit and understanding that you have that habit to break. Just beware of those habits that you've created so that you can find things to do instead of. If normally after your lunch you have your packet of crisps and your chocolate bar, go for a walk instead. Go for a walk, and when nobody's looking, do some squats. That's what I would do. Or if you're in the office and you can't go for a walk, get up from your desk and climb the stairs 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Go up to the top, down to the bottom. Do that, have a large glass of water, maybe repeat it again. You do have to be the driver of the action that you need to take, but you can do it. So I hope this has been helpful to you. What are your thoughts on focusing more on building muscle mass as opposed to losing weight? Because I think we've all been brought up, the scale we saw can be doom and gloom. Our worth is not, our worth is not attached to a number on the scale. It really should be how do you feel? And if you are on a weight loss journey, then I would use a piece of clothing that you perhaps used to be able to fit into, that you can't fit into right now. Try and put it on. Take a photo of you of how much of it you can get on you, and then use that as your progress photo every week or every 2 weeks. Take another photo, see how much more you can get that clothing on, because eventually you'll be able to get it on, and then you'll be able to do it up comfortably. And you may even find that when you're doing it up, eventually it's actually baggy on you. So it's not about getting skinny, it's about getting leaner and stronger, focusing on muscle building, and also eating sufficient protein so that you can build those lean muscles effectively. So thanks for your company today. If you've got anything you'd like me to cover in a future episode, just let me know, and I will look forward to chatting with you again next week.